Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I am on the road. Right now, this is actually kind of a test video to see how long it'll take to upload and do stuff, but I'm working on having a mobile studio that's portable that I can actually be able to do the stuff that I normally do at my house. And I want to. I heard this before my live stream, and I just got finished with my live stream. Shout out to everybody who was in there and stuff. But Dan Orlovsky has made a name for himself. I don't know if it's considered a good name, but the reality is there's no such thing as bad publicity. At least that's what they always tell you. And as long as they're talking about you, whether it's good or bad, that's all you care about. You just want people to talk about you. You want people to click. And so ESPN has gotten to be really, really good with getting their people to be kind of trolls of the Cowboys because that gets clicks. Pro Football Focus is getting into that, and they're understanding that, if they turn around and say, Kellen Moore is the second best play caller in the NFL, people are going to look as opposed to doing a legitimate list. So Cris Canty, he was drafted by the Cowboys, played the Cowboys, and went on with the New York Stinking Giants, got a Super Bowl with them, is now a personality on ESPN. And I don't know if this is his own words or if this is the skits that ESPN puts on out there. But he literally went off on Dak Prescott. Some things that are kind of legitimate and some things that you say, you're just speaking some bullshit right now. Let's see if I can get this to work in here and see if we can get picture in picture and listen to it.
Uh-oh.
So last week, you got on Dak a little bit because there were some people that were calling Dak Prescott an elite quarterback. Would you prefer that I play the cut of you from last week, or would you like to lay out with full context exactly what your point about Dak Prescott?
Let me go ahead and lay it out. We can use the sign for the sound for the receipts, but let me go ahead and lay out the conversation as it went on KJM last week. So I jumped on with the guys on Thursday, and the conversation was about what quarterback was under the most pressure to enhance their legacy going into 2022. And, people were running down the list. Aaron Rodgers was one of the names that people threw out there. Derek Carr was another name that folks threw out there because of the Devontae Adams trade, which I disagree with because Derek Carr was phenomenal last year. And so all of these other names are getting tossed around. And I said, hey, guys, what about a name that everybody knows, a name that's always in the news cycle, Dak Prescott? And, the KJM guys, Jay Williams and Max Kellerman took a little bit of a pause, took a breath. And then I laid out the case that Dak Prescott has to be better in order for the Cowboys to accomplish their ultimate goal, which is winning a championship. And that's why Jerry Jones paid Dak Prescott all the money that he gave him. And I also threw this question out there, big fella. I said, has there been a quarterback in the National Football League that has done less with more than Dak Prescott? That was the question that I threw out. So those are the facts. That's what happened. If you feel like you need to play the sound for me on KJM last week, I'm more than open to do that. We can do that. But that's what happened. That was the conversation. And Dak Prescott, for all the money that he's got, for everybody talking about how great the Cowboys offense is, being a top 5 offense 3 of the 6 years that he was a full-time starter.
Let's stop there for a second here. So just for sake of argument, 2021, coming back from a catastrophic ankle injury. Problems with the shoulder, calf injury, an offensive line that played good the first half of the season, but then struggled in the second half where your starting left guard ended up being replaced by a guy who couldn't get to the second level, that your big fella ended up, being on and off the field. Your center being picked up and dropped in your quarterback's lap, and your left guard, of course, leading the NFL in penalties. And had it not been for Lyle Collins missing 7 games, he would have led the NFL in penalties because he had 9 in 10 games. Knowing that your running back, one of them had a torn plantar fasciitis, the other one had a PCL tear, but somehow, as bad as everybody says Dak was, his touchdown to interception ratio goes from 2.7 to 3.9. His completion percentage goes from 66 to 69. His off-target percentage drops from 17 to 13. But go on, Chris.
I just, one playoff win, that's all we got? For $40 million a year, that's all we got is one playoff win? Do you remember how last year ended with Dak Prescott, ball in his hands?
How many does Derek Carr have?
The late game execution against the 49ers?
Clock run it out.
How many does Deshaun Watson have?
I'm just saying
Kirk
he's got to be better. And this is an opportunity for him to enhance his legacy, and there's pressure on it because of all of the things that Jerry Jones wants, but then also his head coach coming under fire, knowing that Sean Payton is looming out there in 2023 as a potential coaching candidate. So all I'm simply saying is, in terms of quarterbacks under pressure to enhance their legacy, Dak Prescott is at the top of the list.
Okay, well, let's hear from a couple of people that, they disagree.
This is where they throw him under the bus.
First of all, let's hear from Keyshawn Johnson, who on KJM this morning, he went in a little bit.
I have no idea what Cris Canty is talking about. First of all, the offensive line was banged up. The running game never really got going at the second half of the season the way it was the first half of the season. And all Dak Prescott has done is come back off an injury, try and get this team going in the right direction. They moved on from Amari Cooper, like you mentioned. CeeDee Lamb now is the frontline guy. Cedric Wilson is gone. Michael Gallup is coming back off an injury. Dalton Schultz is there as a tight end. The defense wasn't up to snuff over the last couple of years until all of a sudden they got a better defense. It's just interesting to hear what Cris Canty, the Giant player, has to say.
All right, can I chime in right there real quick? Because I know you got some more sound you want to get to. The Giant player, never mind the fact that I was drafted by the Cowboys and I was teammates with Keyshawn Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not even going to bring that up. But here's the thing, Carlin. You know why all of those guys are missing from the Cowboys this year? You know why Amari Cooper's not there? You know why Cedric Wilson left in free agency? Would you like me to tell you?
Oh, I'm waiting.
Dak Prescott got $40 million a year, including $70 million in year one of the contract. That's what happened. What are we talking about? If you're going to pay a guy that...
Stop right there. It was not a $70 million cap hit year one. He was an $18 million cap hit. That signing bonus, prorated bonuses, and everything else all rolled up in one. And this is after a guy who his first year got $630,000. Year one, year two, year three, and year four got $2 million. This is the bullshit that they try and throw at you.
Kind of money, I shouldn't have to have everything be perfect in order for him to make the team go. In order for the offense to be productive, in order for the team to do high-level winning, it shouldn't have to be perfect. You shouldn't have to have the best offensive line. You shouldn't have to have the best skill position core. You shouldn't have to have the best defense. But I can make the case over the last 3 years that Dak Prescott, at one point or another, has had the best of all of those aspects in that team. At some point. Within a 3 or 4 year span, Dak Prescott has had the best offensive line.
Did you see 2020? That offensive line, that defense? Seriously? And he only played in 5 games that season. I'm going to cry bullshit on this one.
Within a 3 or 4 year span, he's had the best skill position core. Last year, he had the best defense in terms of taking the ball away and creating extra possessions. So I don't understand what Keyshawn Johnson is looking at when he's saying this ain't Dak Prescott's fault. If it's not Dak Prescott's fault, whose fault is it?
Okay, then there's one more. There's Mike Tannenbaum, also on KJM, ESPN's NFL front office insider.
I totally disagree. I think Dak Prescott's a rising superstar. If you go back last year, Key, that offensive line was really good for a while, but they were banged up. Gallup got hurt. And to me, they have a chance to be really good moving forward if CeeDee Lamb can become the frontline #1 guy. But I actually think Dak Prescott solidified that franchise. I think he's their best player, and I think their future is bright. So I don't see it the way Cris Canty does at all.
He's their best player?
Okay. I think we've had enough of Cris Canty. Clearly, he was set up to be the fall guy, okay? He was set up to be the village idiot, and then they're bringing everybody else in here telling him how stupid that he is, and so on. See, this is the Dan Orlovsky school of sports talk. And with that being said, I'm going to end this video with this take.
This is for Tad Prescott. Leave me alone. This is for Cowboys fans. I wore your colors. Leave me alone. In my mentions. This is for guys like Graziano, but most importantly, this is for my arch nemesis, Dominique Foxworth. Egg on my face on television.
He's got egg on his face. Dominique, how